Hey up, guys! Welcome. It is Wednesday the 25th. Just checking the old sound was coming out there. It is Wednesday's guitar class. It's lessons from the book. It is lessons from the book. Oh, do you know what? I forgot to put this up. Boom! There it is. There's the info, the PDF for today's lesson. The notes for this lesson is in the book. Hey up everyone, welcome. It is Wednesday the 25th of June 2025. If it's your first time here, thank you for coming along. Let me know and I will give you a round of applause and thank you. Make sure we welcome all guests here. That's what we do. And welcome to the chat. As you can see, the regulars are here. But if you are new, then make sure you become a regular and just join in the chat. It's a cool place to be. So, today's lesson. Yes, today's lesson is from the book. Right, now, if you don't know what the book is, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this up here and I'll show you what the book is. Right, so there's the book. This one is Memorizing the Guitar Fretboard. This is lesson 6 out of 80 that are in the book. And basically, I got emailed this week. Is there a progression through the book? Well, if you join the Fretboard Fraternity, there's a post in there, there's a sticky in there, and it does follow a kind of a logical order. But some of these lessons, and that's the whole point of the Wednesday guitar class, is to join the ideas that are in these lessons up together, so they become this massive brain of knowledge that you have in your head that you can apply to your guitar, and that's the whole idea. So this is the one we're doing today, guys. We are doing lesson 6, page 11 from the book. This is what we're going to do today. But like I say, what I like to do is I like to expand on these lessons, and I like to connect them to other lessons. And this is definitely going to connect to another lesson. In fact, I'd probably say, where am I going with this? I'd probably say it ties into lesson 10 and lesson 11, which is caged octaves and string pairs. Yeah, so we've got a lot going on in this lesson today, but the whole premise of this lesson is basically it's all about memorizing the notes on your guitar fretboard, basically. And how we're going to do that is we're going to chunk these. They're going to do something called chunking. It's the easiest way of doing it, because let me just show you quickly before I get into the roll call. I just need to give you a little preview of what's going on here. If I just switch here, yeah, that's usually what you get. Now, the thing is, I tried to get my software to put the sharps and the flats in, and sometimes you get these diagrams, but this looks like science. There's just like too much. There's too much going on here. So no, we do not want this, and this is what today is all about. So I'm going to show you this way of getting these notes memorized in a logical manner, just in a really logical manner. Because what did I say? Master the guitar fretboard in just one lesson with this proven trick. And I know it's proven because I've taught this to so many students. I was going to say probably thousands, probably in the thousands over the years. Of the number of students I've taught over the years, really, and the people who've seen this from the lesson on the YouTube channel as well. So this is the nightmare, guys, and this is usually the one that you get first page in a beginner's guitar book is like, learn here, these are your notes, and it's like you look at that and it's overwhelming and it's overfacing, and this is a nightmare. This is a nightmare for beginners. So no, we won't be going anywhere near that. But look, I've just got to put that up there. If you're interested in supporting my work on the channel, you can get the book there. It's at the store. It's available in paperback. It's available in spiral bound, and it's also available as an ebook. If you get it as an ebook, then what happens is, yes, then the videos, they're not just on YouTube. I've put them in logical sequence in a it's like a course, but it isn't a course. It's just all the lessons in one spot, basically, and that's in the Fretboard Fraternity. Now, the Fretboard Fraternity is free regardless. Yes, it's a nice place to be on the internet. That's what it is. There's just there. Fretboard Fraternity. Go there.com. Yes, sign up. Have a nosy around. Join in the conversations. Post pictures of your guitars, your dogs, cake. I did see that Carter was in the house. Videos of you cooking and being on television shows. Carter, mate, I watched that and I was like, I was ravenous after I watched that segment with you on it there on Diners, Dives and Drive-Ins. Whew. Yes, looked very, some of that stuff looked very nice. Just up my street, that. So yeah, you know, you get to hobnob with culinary expertise in the group as well. So there you go. There's the Fretboard Fraternity. Make sure you join that. Now, what you can do is any of the extra notes that I draw today, because I do have some sheets here knocking around ready. Any of the extra sheets I'm going to do today, they're going to go into PDF Club. Where's Phil? Is Phil knocking around? You say, what is PDF Club? Let me tell you what PDF Club is. There's the link if you want to check out what PDF Club is. PDF Club is basically, it's the archive of every YouTube video lesson that I've done on YouTube that has generated a PDF. All the PDFs are in there, a load of worksheets, a load of blank diagrams, a load of other resources that you might need. If it's a printable thing, then I chuck it in there. And also, beautifully, you know, there's what else is there in there, Mrs. Ricky? There's discount codes as well, isn't there, off courses as well. So everything's always discounted as well in PDF clubs. Pardon? Blank sheets, is that what you call them? Oh, blank sheets. I thought she was like black sheets. I was trying to think, oh, what's them? That sounds good. When did I put those in? But that's what I'm saying. There's other stuff. So basically, it's all my archive. But what's more, it is all future lessons as well that I do here on my YouTube channel. So this is how we keep the lights on, guys. So that's what we're going to do. Oh, hang on. Just before we get started. Oh, look, we also have, oh, look at this. My tea maker. My cherished tea maker is still here, and here we have a Ricky's Guitar custom A major pentatonic and anatomy mug here. It's a lesson in a mug, and it's a cup of tea, and it's not just any tea, by the way. We were having a discussion earlier on, weren't we, that PG Tips is the devil. We don't drink PG Tips. We don't encourage anybody to drink PG Tips. This is Yorkshire tea, yes. Mined in the Yorkshire tea mines in the hills, the Pennine Hills of Yorkshire. So let's have a sup. No, it's a good temperature today. Thank you very much. That's a good one. So I shall be reminding myself to sup that. It will be cold by the end of today's session. So, guys, there we go. That's what we're going to do today. So we're going to look at breaking up this fretboard. We're going to look at ways to memorize that fretboard so that we can so that you. Yeah, you can tie things to it. You can know where your chords, your scales, and arpeggios are going to go. This is what it's all about. Hopefully that makes sense, and we will get into it. But first things first. Yes, what we're going to do is I'm going to set my timer. Let's have a look. Set the timer. I'm going to leave this on here. Let's have a look. And we're going to do the roll call. I'm going to welcome the usual miscreants who have nothing better to do on their Wednesdays apart from look at my ugly mug on a screen, yeah, and listen to me waffle about guitar. Yeah, so that's what it's about. And if you've never been before, I'm Ricky. I've been teaching guitar for about just over 36 years. And I've done that in one-to-ones. I used to own a music school and did that for nearly 20 years in Huddersfield. It was called Ricky's School of Rock, and it was very good. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying is like if you're looking for a source to come for your guitar knowledge and stuff like that, you're in a good place. That's all I'm going to say. So. Let's crack on. And what we're going to do is we're going to do the roll call. I'm just going to look at the chat now. I'm trying to keep looking down at the chat too much because I get distracted. And there's one or two of you that are always saying things that make me giggle. And it's like, and it just puts me off just a little bit because I do like a giggle. Who doesn't? Who doesn't like a giggle? So we have Jerry Lindy in the chat. We've got relaxing meditation. Hey, Ricky. Hope you and the family are all well, and I hope all watching are doing great. You see, this is the guys. Look, relaxing meditation. This is how it rolls. This is how we roll in here. We, that's the level we're at. There's no nastiness or no politics or anything else like that. We don't even have that here. Yeah, so the rest of YouTube can do that, but we don't have it here. We just want this. This is what we're doing. So that's the one there. So thank you, relaxing meditation. Chimp number 1 is in the house. Dem Ravens is in the house. Eyup, do you know you have set yourself up a treat? Think the first Fretboard Frat meetup is going to be at for Gumbo yours. Absolutely. Jerry Moffat in Texas. Robin Tate, another great lesson. It will be. Scuba Trooper Chris Houston is ready for class in North Carolina. We have Christopher Campagna is there waving. JB is in Poland. Eyup FretHeads. Harry Croker is in Wolves. Araman 48. Eyup from Bern in Switzerland. We've got Patrick Derbyshire. Hey up, Patrick. Oh, you're staying with us this week. Fairly warm here in West Brom. Looking forward to tonight's session. Hope you do not get another call from across the water like last week. Yeah, well, that's okay. Well, you can focus on this. But remember, you can always watch it on the replay. It's always there on the replay. So, Carter Hutchinson. Hi, Ricky. Hi, Mrs. Ricky, everyone. Sunny here in beautiful South Louisiana, Cajun country. Oh, Cajun country. It sounds idyllic for me. We're going to have to get over. The Mauler Man, how do, from Cork Island. Oh, nice to have you in here. My dad's Irish, so I was going to try and think of something to say, like some Irish word, but I couldn't. It just evaporated. There you go. It might come back in a little minute. The word for cheers in Irish, I forgot what it is. That's what I was trying to remember. Scott Simmons, be jamming in Colorado, man. Best to you, Ricky. Hey up. Cat Bubba. Be sure to hit the like, Fretheads. Indeed, wallop that like. If you haven't walloped it, wallop it. Cat Bubba is in the chat in Vancouver. Maria Muggs Davies. Hi, Ricky and Mrs. Ricky. Looking forward to tonight's lesson. That's what we want to hear. Parker Fly Rook in New York. Marcel LeBlanc in Quebec in Canada. Oh, it's the balmy 24 degrees C. That doesn't sound too bad. That we're all right there. It's just been raining here. It's just horrible, when it gets raining. And I've got a seedling greenhouse, and it was windy a few days over, and it blew over, and all the compost went everywhere, and it was a right mess. And I just looked at it, and it was the second time it's done it, and I thought I should have tied it up a bit or something, but I looked at it and I was just so disappointed. Just disappointed. Gardening's disappointing here because the slugs and the snails just get everything. Graham Wood, hi all from East Yorkshire. I'm having a gripe about me gardening. Shauna TV, it's too hot on New York City. Forgive me. No worries, we don't mind. We also, it was really warm here last week. I was struggling last week. We've got Graham Penfold, sweating buckets in Sandhurst. Woo! Telefunken is not late today. I'm glad to see that because I did have a little note here somewhere. It says Telefunken. How many times was he late so far? I had them down there. I had you down for a double dose of Star Jumps. But no need today. The exemplary, you probably get a gold star for that. Malcolm Denge in Sussex. Martin Bailey is in Hertfordshire. Stefan Weber is in Germany. I don't know if I always should say that as Weber. Weber? W as a V, and it's the other way around, is it? Well, I don't know. But there we go. Eric Collingwood, good morning from Milwaukee in Oregon. Mick England in Massachusetts. Dem Raven says, I'm just the ideas man. You're the organised one. I'll leave that for you. You mean the gumbo? Yeah, we'll have a look and we'll see if we can do that. Anton says hello to everybody. Paul B in the City of Sin. Where's the City of Sin? Is that Los Angeles? I don't know where that is. Phil James is in the chat. There we go, chatting away. We also have Matthew Parsons in hot and humid South Carolina. I'll take that. Mike Allen Eyup, lovely to see you always. Looking so marvellous. Every week. It's an ego boost, Mike. I love it. Thank you very much. We also have John Carver in the chat in Durham. There we go. Mario van Leuven in Antwerp. We have Mark Carter in Alabama. We've got Woogie X. I hope that's a kiss. And not like, just like, I don't know. I'll just go with that. From Essex. Oh, it's a kiss then. So we got that. Dave, SVT, Tony Davies, evening all. The Silver Jedi. Ooh. Hello, Ricky. Just watch where you're waggling your lightsaber there. You don't want to destroy your laptop or your iPad while you're watching. Or your guitar, for that matter. Let's have a look. Who else we've got? Stuart Smith. Hi, all. It's the Silver Jedi's second time here. All right. Okay. Well, you didn't tell us the first time. You should have done. James, guitar time. Dale Sam. Hello, FretHeads. BC1. Hey, Rick. Hey, BC1. Jasmine. Elec. Yay, Ricky. Creating world peace by teaching us guitar. That's the way, isn't it? I always say, if more people just... I mean... Let's face it. What's going to happen when AI takes over and doing all jobs for us? What we're going to do? We're going to be doing creative things. We're going to be doing music, and we're going to be doing. And nobody's going to want to watch robots. It'd be a novelty at first watching robots do, Metallica, like doing a thing, and it'd be a novelty at first. And I think people might go along to see it once or twice. But I think that's the future. What's going to happen? That's what's going to happen. We're going to have time to be creative. Hopefully. Hopefully that's what it does. Nothing else. We don't want any Terminator situations going on. Right, there we go. Mo Chef Canna is in the chat. Mrs. Ricky is too good for you. Just saying. She is. She's a wonderful lady. Let me just say. She's a wonderful lady. I'm very, very lucky. I realise this. I am very much punching above my pay grade, if that's the say. Maria says, chunking method. Yes, the chunking is really important. Matthew Parsons, first timer. There we go. Matthew Parsons here. Right, okay, you get a round of applause there, Matthew. There you go. Welcome. Thank you very much for spending your time with us. And then Sean has done something there, and I don't know what that is. Cat run across a keyboard. Gumby Scores there says, good day, FretHeads from BC. Michael Gregg, hello. Chimp number 1. We have me as me. Hi, everyone. If you listen to the wind, you can still hear him play. R.I.P. Mick Ralphs. Yes, very sad. Very sad to hear that this week. Bill T. Dear Whit. Bionic Bill from Connecticut. First time FretHead. Oh, there we go. You're here. Well done. I'm glad to have you here. What should we have? Well, just give you a round of applause as well there, Bill. Thank you for spending your time with us. Randy Smith. Matthew, the rules are mash the button. They are definitely are mash the button. Definitely mash that like button. We have... we also have Mark McKeever, the actor, Siup, in the chat. Syrup. Lily says hi. Mulcher93 says great lesson in it. That's a Yorkshire in it. Julie Cliff is in the chat. New to the group. My name is Julie. I'm down the road in Leeds. Hey, there you go. Big round of applause there for Julie. Welcome to the group. Martin Bailey. I'm liking this. Can you too? I like that. We have everybody's coming in here now. We'll get some people in the old chat now. John Steer is in Austin. Lawrence O is down in hot London. We've got True, Sean, Armour. Hey all, sup Ricky. He's so cool. You're very, very cool. It's very cool guy, Sean. That's what I always think that. Bill Travis, click the like button. Friends, give Ricky's channel a thumbs up. Yes, definitely. Richard Shields, Eyup, sweltering there. Ooh. We'll hope it's okay. Matthew Parsons, how long do you recommend staying above fret 12, getting the fretboard memorised before biting off the money end? Ooh, it's a funny one. We'll get into that. I'll bear that in mind, yes, because the thing is, if you learn the first 12 frets, you're actually learning the from the 12th fret up by default, because it's the same territory. It's just an octave higher. So really, that's the kind of a way to see it. You can do that with your numbers. I've done that in other lessons where I talk about using your numbers, but you know, you just use the dots. That's where the dots come in, really useful, is that, Matthew? Jackie Bunt, good evening, Ricky and everyone. Great to be here. Paul B, Gift of the Gab was a massive glimpse into the fretboard for me. Yes, it is a good one. Just little landmarks, and this is what we do, you see. This is what it's all about. Shauna TV says, what's the PDF Club, Ricky? PDF Club? You know what PDF Club is now. I think everybody does. Rennie Hartman is in Holland. Shout out for the PDF Club. You know, there's a lot of people, there's some banging PDFs going there. I do say that myself, you know, I'm just blowing me on, tooting my own horn. How many was in the last lesson? Mrs. Ricky? 8-page PDF. Did some extra bits, some nice printables. I always put the handwritten version in because some people like the handwritten notes that I do, but I also like to create something special that's just like it's legible and it's not scrawly. Yeah, so I like to do that, and yeah, so it's really printable, lots of colour on it and everything else like that. So just, you know, it's really nice to be able to do that. So that's what it is. That's what PDF Club is. Linkow New. What's up, homies? David Boys here from Ontario. We are doing good today at Linkow New. We're really, really good. We also have Winston Moy in the chat. Kickstart lesson is banging. Kickstart course. I have a Kickstart guitar course for you. Hood fellas, only Yorkshire lol. Linkow New, I want a lesson about tritone substitution, please, sir. Why? Why do you need a lesson about tritone substitution? If you're a jazzer, then yeah, I tell you what, I teach my one-to-one students that kind of stuff because they're at that level. Yeah, and that's the thing I do. If you want to know about tritone substitution, go see my friend Jens Larsen and his channel. Yeah, and that'll be probably the best bet for you. Yeah. I do jazz personally and those sort of things, but I don't think it's one of those things. It's one of those things. It's like, yeah, you know, people rather know where the notes are than understand what a tritone substitution is. Because a tritone substitution, you might as well just look at that. It sounds like a science experiment. Yeah, that's all it's easy. It does what it says on the tin, to be honest. Carl Whitehead says, hey up, Ricky. Carl W, love and respect from Sunny Nunny. There we go. We've got Redskin Garage. I think that's Garage. I don't know how you say it where you are. Alan Mackey, salutations from East Tennessee. Like that one, salutations. Eduardo, hey up, I'm watching while working. Glad that my boss is not seeing this. Well, you never know, he might enjoy it. We've got 114 on the ticker there. John Essam, we are in time for Wednesday waffle and roll call. Here, sir, Ecky Thump. That's a good one. That's one I need to stick in the old sound effects there. Elizabeth Azud, hey from CT USA. Mark Carter, don't forget Miss Ricky. Your Miss Ricky made me a lovely cup of tea. She's just been practicing a piano and playing All of Me by John Legend. Very, very good. And she's going to be performing it at school in a couple of weeks, aren't you? Yeah. So there you go, because she's leaving junior school and going up to high school. Or as you American guys would say, I think middle school. I think that's what you'd say. So there we go. Scott Simmons says, buy the book, best guitar book I have, and I have lots of books. Well, thank you, I appreciate that. Lazy Butt Las Vegas here. Sarah, Downing, Yorkshire Tea in New Mexico. Oh, living the dream there, Sarah. Living the dream. This is what it's all about. You know it's the best stuff. And you know, they're just like, yeah, hey up. We'll have another sup while it's still warm. So we've got Rob K, evening all in the Netherlands. Mary, hey up, great time to be playing guitar outside is wonderful. I like to sit in the garden and just noodle and play for the neighbours. That's what I do, play for the neighbours. And they seem to enjoy it. You know, they don't throw any bricks over the wall or the fence or anything like that. So there we go. Fretboard Fraternity, you will never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy. No, you won't. It's truly terrible. It's so angelic in there. So there we go. We have Mark McKeever. This man is a mine of guitar information. Thank you, Mark. Mark's had lessons with me. It's a while ago, wasn't it? And you did my in-person guitar class, I seem to remember. So there you go. But now he's given it all up because he's now an actor. That's it. So Martin Bailey says Yorkshire 9th in the cricket county championship, relegation is looming. I don't follow the cricket, so I have no emotional investment, which I've barely got enough to go with Man City. That's where I'm at, So I'm saving any emotions I have for that. For Man City, for my sporting endeavours. Bill Travis, greetings to all. Marcel Lamarck is, and that's because you're one of the top posters, maybe that's what it is. Mike Idzior, Eyup, Ricky, South Florida. Sandy B is in the chat as well. Matt Cochran is in the chat. Edward Plomp is in the chat. We have Noel Rodriguez in North Carolina. Jim James, melting in New England. Bill T, the oven is on in Connecticut, only 95 today. Still sounds hot. Slanty, that's it. That's the one. Thank you, the Mauler man. I knew that was. You've got to say it with a bit more of a brogue, though, don't you? Anik says hello. Chimp number 1. My like button has been well walloped. That's what we want to hear. Rocket 67. Hiya, buggers from sunny Germany. Buggers. NKN. Hi from Norway. We've got Ingo Noll from snowy Switzerland. We have who else is in the chat? We've got there now. We're getting to the end now. Anderson Figueiredo Gomez. Greetings from Caraguatatuba, Sao Paulo, Brazil. I hope I said that okay. Lily from Putney. We've got Secret Gots in as well. Hi all, nice to be with you. Thanks for coming along. Bill T. Robots do not have the creative. They don't have the creative mind, do they? Cyril Johnston is in Antrim. We've got who else? We've got SYX9. Good morning from Las Vegas. We also have, let me look, I'm looking down the analog kid, I am the AI. We have Indian, hi! There we go. The robots from Smashed Potato. The Smash, get for mash, get smash in the 1970s. Oh, that takes me right back. We've already learned so much with awesome vision. Shanang Fawaka, there we go. We are in the chat there. See you later. Jeremiah Miraz, good today. Glad I was able to make here today. Well, good to have you here. Apes and guitars, sounds good. We'll go with that. Robert Kennedy, howdy from hot soggy Texas. We also have YouTube Music Portal. Papa Doc, Dark Gent. Is in the chat. D Hip, first time from Ohio. There you go. You get a round of applause. Yeah, we've got that there. Just put a little volume up there. Alm Wentz is in the chat. We also have Bobby D, first timer. We've got another first timer. We love the first timers. Thank you for turning up today and thank you for coming along. Ford MJ, hello from Ridgecrest, California. John Smith from New York, USA. We also have Roger Smith. We've got Lily says, can you stick that scan thing up? The scan thing, this one here to buy the book. Yeah, of course I can. I can put that up. Thank you very much for supporting the channel there. We have, who else have we got? Have we got any new people? Martin Bailey. Shout out for Little Miss Ricky. All the best with your school gig. Yeah, it'd be good with that. David Fisher is in Toronto. We're getting there. I'm nearly at the bottom. Hey, it's Daryl Drinkwine. Thank you for in the Fretboard Fraternity, Daryl. Thank you for posting your video as well. I went over and watched it and I left a little message. I don't know if you've logged in and had a little nosy, but well done and thank you for sharing that. It means a lot, It takes a lot to just to share your playing and your progress, and it does you good actually to record your playing and your so that you can look at your progress and think to yourself, oh look, that was me 6 months ago. Look what I'm doing now, and you just start to think, and you can see the improvement, which is always very encouraging. So I highly recommend that. So thank you for doing that, Daryl. It was really, really nice of you to share that with the group. David Doty just got released from my binds. We don't want to know what's going on in there. DCO OCD, okay. All those letters there, but the first three are in the wrong order. We've got Angus Wacom there. Let's start. Time's up. Yes, it is. Time's up. Kid Card Collector in Tijuana, Mexico. Samuel MD. And we are just about to the bottom. Oh, Argus Wacom is a first timer as well. Let's add him to the chat. We'll say welcome for coming here, and you know, thank you for coming along. And yes, we will start. Okay. That is roll call. Let me just take you back to this thing here. Let me just rewind when the crowd say Bo selector. We're going to rewind. I don't know why I followed that with the rest of it. But do you ever think that? Do you ever think phrases and you go to yourself, oh yeah, rewind. Oh, no, not that one. We've done that one there. What we want is we're going to turn this one off here. We're going to turn this one off here. And we're going to turn this off here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just... Thank you, Elizabeth. We're going to look at this. Yeah, so like I said, this is the most awful way of looking at your fretboard and being absolutely confused and boggled. Because reality is, you know, once somebody starts telling you about, oh, hang on, F sharp is also a G flat, then you've got to put that in there, and then you've got to do that with all these. Oh, hang on, that's an A flat as well. So, and then it just becomes this mess. It just becomes this mess. But what we're going to do, guys, is today we're going to simplify this whole process. Because what we're looking at is we're looking at the fretboard. Now, the reason, you know, I've had comments on the channel where people have said, oh, you don't need to learn the notes. You don't need to learn the notes on guitar, mate. All you need to do is just play the scales and play the chords, and you and that's it. And I'm just like, well, you know, this is the thing, right? This here, this is another part of the puzzle, yeah? The thing is, if you don't know your notes on the fretboard, where the notes are on the fretboard, then you're lost if you don't know where the notes are. Because what it does is it limits your musical understanding. And what happens is it brings in inefficiencies. I like to look at it like this as well, because this is part of that thing about the other lesson that I did about the musical alphabet backwards. Do you remember that one, guys? Can anybody hang on? Let's just do a spot test. Yeah, a little quiz. Yeah, you know, putting you on the spot here. Yeah, on the spot quiz. Who can remember the musical alphabet backwards and the saying? The story I told, the silly story. Anybody in the chat? I will say it. I will be saying it as well. So don't worry if you don't know it. Yeah, I will tell you. Yeah, because what we do is we know the musical alphabet goes A, B, C, D, E, F, G. That's what we've got. Those are the ingredients. Yeah, but we also need to be able to say it backwards. Okay, so this all ties into it. Right, here come the answers in the chat. So you can start to see the answers coming in the chat here, guys. And this is G, F, E, D, C, B, A. Well, we need a way to understand this. And as you can see, this has stuck for a lot of people. And this is the way I think about it. The problem with learning your fretboard is that most people, what they do when they start, and myself included, yes, it was the same for me. I started at the 0 fret and I used to count up there. Even if a note was up here, yeah, I'd be like starting at the A string here, and I was like looking at this. Yes, G, Fed, C, B, A. You see, just split it down. And it's the same principle we're going to be using today, guys. So we've got this. So here we go. Look, this is what we've got. We've got this here. So if we were trying to find this, for me, right, pop quiz, hot shot, it definitely is. For me, if we look at the 12th fret, yeah, as being the same, and this ties in with that question we got earlier on in the chat. Yeah, what we can do is we can go up. Yeah, this is down. Guys, we have to make sure that you get this the right way around, yes? So hopefully you can see that. I'll just write it in pen, actually, so you can absolutely see it. Right, so this is up, because look at the numbers. The numbers go up in value, and this is down. The numbers go down in value. But if you want to think about it in pitch as well, well, what you can hear is that these go up. Phil Swan says it. CBA can't be asked. That's it. That's the one. You see, CBA. If somebody texted you and said, "Are you coming out tonight?" and you couldn't be bothered, then what you say is you text them back with a CBA. Can't be asked. Yeah, I can't be bothered. Right. So what we do is we've got this as well, and it's also your pitch. So don't forget that. Right, just knowing you're up, which way is up and which way is down is critical. Okay, let's get there with that. But look, so here's the thing. this is what you do as a beginner. And I've seen people try and find a G there, and they start down here and they go A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And it's like, look, guys, look, this is the thing. I'm just spotting these things out for you first. Let's just cite the obvious things. Eddie ate dynamite, goodbye Eddie. Evil aliens die gruesomely by earwax. Yeah, elephants and donkeys grow big ears. Whichever mnemonic it is that helps you to understand those notes, then that's what we're looking at here. But you've got to think about it. And I kind of thought to myself, hang on, let's look at this. Let's look at we've got 0, the 0th fret and the 12th fret. So if I think about it as being half, I want something in the halfway region that's going to help me. Yeah, that's going to help me to get here. I'm veering off into another lesson a little bit here, but this is what it is. It's here. Yeah, the 7th fret. We get this kind of like this division. That's a kind of like a halfway point. So counting up here, yeah, that's okay to a point, but once you pass there, it's inefficient. So we don't want inefficient playing, because what that does is it'll keep you stuck on specific strings, and you don't want that, So this is what we're looking at here, guys. So we want to be able to count backwards. We want to be able to count up, and you can do this with this exercise as well. But today, what I'm going to show you, like I say, is this idea of chunking this information. We're gonna simplify this fretboard. I forgot who asked me earlier on, but you see, once you learn these 12 frets here, the next 12 frets, if you had a 24, if you can't see, that was pointing off there, the next 24 frets, the next 12 frets on a 24 fret guitar would be exactly the same notes as we have in the first 12 frets. That's the way the guitar works, okay? So this is what we're looking at today. Now, it makes sense that what we're drilling in here as well, guys, is we're drilling in the labels for the sounds. Yes, we're drilling in the labels for the sounds of the musical alphabet. And the musical alphabet, if you didn't know, if it's your first time and you've never come across any of this stuff, right, then what you get is you get A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Those are his notes, guys. Those are the notes that we get. Now, the thing is, if we just stick with these, this is what we're going to do. We're just going to stick with these notes here. We're not going to add any of those pesky sharps or flats yet, because there's no need. We do that later once we've established where the natural notes are. Now, I don't know if you've seen a symbol for that. And I'm going to use that in pen. I'm going to do, this is the symbol there for natural. That's the symbol for natural, a natural note. So there. Now, and then what we have is we've got the sharp note as well. Let's put that in. And then we have the flat, okay? Just so that you understand, when I come across these symbols, when I start writing these symbols out, it's going to make sense to you. So what we've got is we've got those guys there, right? Now, the reason what we're going to do here is so useful is because chunking it's the best way for you to practice. And what we're doing is we're tapping into the short-term memory so we don't overload your brain. Yeah, because, and I explained this the other week when we were talking about the fretboard. When we see the fretboard, yeah, when you look at this as a beginner, you look at it and you think, my gosh, there's a lot there, isn't there? There's a lot to take in, and it's like, and if you didn't know that this, like I say in here, up here is just a repeat of that there, then you might think that this is extra stuff that you have to learn as well. Yes, so really, what we want to do is we want to make sure that we make it as easy for ourselves as possible, so we can put those patterns anywhere we want to. There is lots of patterns that recur on the fretboard, and there's a unifying pattern to the whole of the fretboard, and that's what we're looking at here, guys. But when you are looking for a chord in this position, what you need to be able to do is you need to be able to look and find a note, and you go, all right, well, that's where a C is. You don't want to be thinking to yourself and processing all the information. Well, yes, there's a C here, there's a C here, there's a C here, there's a C here. But the thing is, you don't want to be processing that information as well at the same time, simultaneously, because it's too much. It's overwhelmed. You don't want to have, yes, you want a bird's eye view. but it's a very, very general thing. But when you need to focus, you need to be able to focus down into a small part of the fretboard and to be able to find that reliably. And that's what we're talking about, because we don't want you to be lost in the fog, you know, because that's the way it is. Look, finding your way around the fretboard, it's like driving in the fog. And you can only see so much of the road in front of you. If you try and look at everything else outside, you won't know where you're going. You'll just be lost, and we don't want that. Yeah. Now the cool thing about this is it ties in with all the shapes and patterns that I love to show you, right? Because Sean says, this is a trick because I know this and I never know anything in these classes. Well, hopefully. But the thing is, I'm going to expand upon it, Sean. As you well know, I like to do this. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at the basic fretboard measurements, right? So we've established that this is up, this is down, this is what we've got. And if we look at the musical alphabet, in fact, the A string is the perfect place. We can see the labels. It goes A, B, C. The labels, those letters are just labels for the pitch, for the sound, yeah? And that's all it is. I mean, you could describe them in their, the A would be 110 hertz, but we don't want to do that, right? So that would be awkward trying to remember all those hertz values for these. So we just use alphabet letters. Now, the thing is, there is a pattern that progresses through this, but as you can see, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then we go back to A again, yeah? So you could even look at that as being like a clock, A, B, C, D, E, or a circle. You know how much I love my circles, guys. So that goes back around here. David says, they appreciate we are doing note names across the fretboard, but interval equivalents are another route to the same story. Yes, indeed. They are another framework. That's what we need. We need all these frameworks. But this is the thing that I'm saying is you need to know where your note names are, because you need to know where your note names are so that you can find where to play your chords, your scales, and your arpeggios, the pitch elements, that are relating to keys. It's also for finding the tonic for your keys, so you can put things like the L7 grid, the 7/7 grid on top, so that you know how to spell out your chords, using maybe even the circle of thirds or something like that. Okay, so this is what we're doing here, guys. Right now, so what I'm going to do is we have to look at the units of measurement, because I kind of think of the fretboard as being like a pitch ruler, with each one being, you could have centimeters and inches. It depends if you're old money or new money. Yeah, so you could have them divided up like that. But really, the smallest one we have is 1 fret, yeah, which is called a half step. Now, some of you, I know you're thinking, oh, Ricky, I already know this, but look, it's good to go through this just to clarify it, because the more clear something is in your mind, the more readily you are going to be able to use it. So we've got 1 fret, and that's a half step. Now, we naturally have 2 spots where that happens, between the B and the C and the E and the F. And when we get that, between that B and the C, yeah, I just use this little mnemonic. It's how I like my breakfast. I like my bacon crispy, and I like my eggs fried. There we go. I like my eggs fried. I don't mind them poached as well. Eggs fried, but I do like them fried. Yes, in beef dripping, no less. Yes, so eggs fried. There we go. So that's for the half step, right? So if you look, you can see that the distance between that E and that F there, look, you can see we get that half step. And you can see here, between the B and the C, that's going to become important, because as we go through this, yeah, we're going to... Eggs fried. Tell me about your mother. She was a hen. So we've got eggs fried, bacon crispy. We've got that going on there. Now, what we could do is we could take the half step, and if we go up 2 frets, what that does is it gives us a step. Yeah. And when we get the step, we don't need to remember anything. What we could do is we can use this little bracket symbol there. I like to use an angle bracket for the half steps, yeah, and a staple bracket for the whole steps. So you can see there, so 2 frets is a step, and then 1 fret is a half step, and that's what we're gonna look at here, guys, because what I want you to see is I want you to see these structures about these chunks, and this is what we're doing. We're going to do this chunking thing now. If you think about, I've talked about this before. If you think about your phone number, your mobile phone number, if you were to tell somebody, if somebody was to say, "Oh, okay, give me a call," what's your number? You would break your number, even though it might be, like 18 numbers or 60. How many numbers is a phone number? But the thing is, it's so about 12, isn't it? You would still take that, instead of saying it as one long stream, we would chunk it up, we would slice it up so that we can memorize it. And in fact, probably what happens is, if you're anything like me, what you'll do is you'll probably sing it a little bit. I know I have a little rhythmic kind of lilt to the way I do my mobile phone number if somebody asks me, or and that's the way you do it. And so, or sometimes you might even just sing it like a song, and it comes out in that way. So what we do is we chunk it, and what that does is it means that we're leveraging our short-term memory to be able to retain something for it, and then hold it into the long-term memory so that you never forget it. Okay, that's what we want to do. Right. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at these frets, these chunks. So the first chunk we're going to look at is we're going to look at this one here. We're going to split the A, B, C, D, E, F into 3 chunks, guys. This is the way. Instead of just, I know it isn't hard to remember A, B, C, D, E, F, G like this, but once you start to move it around the guitar neck, it can become tricky. My pen's run out. But don't worry, I have a fresh one. So there we go. So we've got A, B, C, D, E, F. Now, I need to plot this out for you so that you can see. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little table here, and I'm going to put these letters in here. So we get A, B, and C. And you can see here what we've got is we've got bacon crispy already. Okay? So we've got bacon crispy. Now what we need to do is we need that whole step just in between the A and the B. So you can see we've got a whole step and then we get a half step. How cool is that? Yeah, so we can see how that works. Now, what I want to do is I'm going to get some colour now. I'm going to get some colour and I'm going to apply it to the fretboard here. And I'm just going to look, and you're going to see that this pattern is reliable. It's always going to be there. Okay, so we've got A, B, C. So we've got an A, B, C there. Can you see that one? On the A string. I did it on the A string because it's the most obvious string to do it on. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back to the E string here, and I'm going to do it on this E string. The thing to know about anything that happens on this E string, it's going to happen and be mirrored on this E string as well. So let me just wallop that over there. I'm going to come over here onto the, I've got a couple of ways I can get to this actually, and I'll just talk you through it in my thinking process. Yes, I don't want to be counting up here, but I already know that that it's there, because when I learnt it, I got my BDI in on the 7th fret here, because if you get your bead, that helps you to get your bead there, doesn't it? Is the bit, the little pip on the top of a rifle, when you get the rifle comes out, where the bullet comes out of there, is that bit called the bit where you get your bead on? That's what you look through. The pip, is it? Am I right? My American friends, you will know this stuff. We don't, because we had all ours taken off us. So we can't be naughty. A, B, C. We've got the A, B, C just there as well. And then if I come up here, you can see I've got A, B, C here. I could also think to myself, well, that's an A, and I know that my A-shaped octave is over that way as well. So I could think of it in that manner. I could also count up, but I don't want to count up because it just takes me still a little bit inefficient. And then what I'm going to do is I know that this one is all the way up here. And that gets me into that spot there. Now that's BC. That's rolling over from there to there. Now you could. This is a way as well. Sometimes, I forgot who showed me this. Somebody showed me this once, and it was interesting. I thought, oh yeah, it's really cool. That if you think of the fretboard as being a cylinder, yeah, if you join up the 0th fret and the 12th fret together, yeah, and just put it like that, it's a cylinder. So you see how that A and B and C is rolling over onto that one there. So does that make sense? Yeah. Yes, look down the sides, breathe, squeeze. It's called a sigh. I don't know. I thought it was getting a bead. Right. Okay. So that's what we've got there, and you can see that it's got this gap. There is something in the gap there, but we don't need to know that yet. We do not need to know that yet because we'll come back to that. Now, we've got A, B, C, and then what we've got is we've got D, E, and F. And then, guys, I want you to see this. It's very much a visual thing. This is a visual thing. The next chunk, the D, E, F, well, look, we get the half step, and then we get the step just here. Yeah, so look at the A, B, C, and look at the D, E, F, and you can see they have the same pattern. They are exactly the same pattern, and then you'll start to see that when I put it on the fretboard. Let me get another colour. I'm going to get green. I'm going to get this green here, right? So if I start here on this A string, because I went A, B, C, D, E, F. There you go. Look, so you can see it there. Look, I'll put it on the D string, from the open D string. Look at that there. Notice what's going on there, guys. Now, if I come over here, D, E, F, because I've done it on this thin E string, I'm going to have to do it on the thick E string because that mirrors as well. But hopefully, you can see that what's happened is we've got this recurring pattern that starts to happen. Now I've got the D-shaped octave going into the C-shaped octave, into the A-shaped octave, into the G-shaped octave, into the E-shaped octave. So you can see how that is rolling around. But the interesting thing that I think is you get these little patterns here. Look at that. That lovely little rectangle there with 6 notes, right? Now 6 notes. I'm gonna come back to this in a minute because when I talk about scales, it's going to make a lot of sense when I talk about this. Obviously, something's going to happen here. I wonder if I need to zoom in a little on this. Let me just zoom in a little on this. Something is happening here. Whereas these, you can see that this pattern that we have that replicated itself, it's the parallel to each other on these strings, and that's because of the tuning. Because of the tuning in fourths. You see here that notes are parallel to each other. But if we look here, we can see it goes wonky, doesn't it? So it gets a bit wonky there. Just like last week's lesson, we've always got to be mindful of the tuning between the G and the B string, and we have to compensate and add 1 fret for the next string up. Yeah. So when we move up one, you would think to yourself A, B, C, D, E, F, but no, we've got to compensate. And then what happens is it writes itself again, and you can see that it's righted itself again. If we come to the bottom down here, you can see we're back to that nice 3 fret pattern. Yes. If you look at this one, coming back up here, we come back here and just notice what's going on. You can see that this spans 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 frets. That takes up 5 frets, whereas this takes up 4 frets. Okay, so we can see, this takes up 4 frets. 4 frets. Okay, so just be mindful of that crossover from the G to the B string. Okay, so this is what you draw a bead by looking down the sides. That's the one. That's what I was thinking. Right. So obviously we've got those there. Now, what we've got is we've got 1 left, and I like to. You know me, I do love a good cheesy story, and the thing is like what we think about is I'm thinking about with this is how can I make this this stick and make it mildly interesting or even amusing, because we remember things by stories. So we've got A, B, C, D, E, and F, and then what we have is you can see. Hang on, where am I going with my G here? Oh, I missed off my E and my F there. I missed off my E and my F there. Let's have a look. All right, okay. So we've got 1 left. We have a lonely G. Now, I just like to say, yeah, this G here is a gangster with no crew. Yeah, it's the G for gangster. Yeah. What do you call a gangster with no crew? I don't know. It's like they're not getting much gangster business done. So here we go. So there is the lonely G, yeah, the G on its own. So we isolate the G there, and what I could do is I can tie this into my caged octaves. Look, so there's the G-shaped octave, there's the A-shaped octave, there's the D-shaped octave, moving over into the C-shaped octave, into the A-shaped octave. So I can switch through those there. Yeah, my G. Hopefully that makes sense. So what we've got is we've got those there. Now, the thing to do, the poor lonely G. The thing to notice with this is as well is in between each of these chunks, we always get a step. Yeah, so we always get a step in between them. In fact, in between the G, and you can see it here. If I just zoom in a little bit closer here, Dolce and Gabbana. I'd go for anything with this. Yes, I want to be. Right, so if we look at this, we can see we've got E and F. Then we've got the gap, and you can see we get the G. So the G is all on its own there. And then from the G to the A, we get a gap, and then we get to the A there. So we get that step in between. So there is always going to be a step in between each of the chunks, okay? So you can see how that G jumps onto the A, B, C. And hopefully that makes sense, guys. Ignore the gap. We're ignoring the gaps for now, okay? Does this make sense? Okay, let's have a look. But look, let me put this on the fretboard. And this is what you want to do. And I'm very much a fan of doing say it as you play it, okay? So I would look at this and I would think to myself, I'd go, E, F. Well, we know that's eggs fried or Jaws. But I'm going to miss this fret. I'm going to ignore it for now. I'll come back to it in a moment. Then this is the lonely G here. Now, if you want to, you can think to yourself, somebody mentioned earlier on, tie it into the gift of the gab, which is G, A, B. Just use those three there as your landmarks, G, A, B, yeah? So you could use those there, but I'm just using this as lonely G. And the cool thing about this is the more ways you have of understanding where something is, the easier it is for you to get to it. Yeah, because if one way doesn't work, then you can think of it another way and then you get there. Okay, so look, there's G. So what I've got to do is I've got to go up a step to get to this here. And now all I do is I remember that it goes step and half step. Yes, because I've got A, B, C. Okay? So I've got A, B, C. And I know right next to it I've got D, E, F. Wonderful. Okay? Now I could use bead. B, E, A, D. We know that from Battle Ends and Down Goes Charles's Father, because when we look at the fretboard, we don't want to just learn it up this way. We want to learn it that way. We want to learn it up from the ceiling to the floor, from the floor to the ceiling. We want to learn it on all the angles of the compass, okay? Because this is the way we look at the fretboard. We want to be able to tackle it at from loads of different angles. So we go A, B, C. Say it as you play it. If you've got your guitar and you're following along, then what you could do is you could say it as you play it. A, B, C, D, E, F. A, B, C, D, E, F. Now, like I said, I could come at it from the bead, B, E, A, and I know I've got another A here. But what I could also use is the E-shaped octave, sorry. There's the E-shaped octave jumping over from one string pair, from the E and A string pair, into the D and G string pair, and now I get A, B, C, D, E, F. Now I know that this area tends to be a fuzzy sort of area for knowing the notes that students suffer from. So if we have something like this to help us, you could even use bead here to help you to think to yourself, yes, we've got B, C, A, B, C, D, E, F. We could play that there like that. D, E, F, G, lonely G, A, B, C. We could use this just to help you to find your way around these notes by using bead to help you as a starting point, much like you might do with your head note if you were down here and you think to yourself, E, F, G, E, F, G, B, C, D. Yeah, so you might know some of your notes because that's where people tend to learn the notes first, in the sort of open position, first 3 frets. Yes, and then you move up. But this way, what we're going to do is, like I say, is we're going to take it all over the shop. So here, we have another string pair here, Shauna. And this is on the A and the D string. We get A, B, C, D, E, F. So you can see we're still getting that same shape, that step, half step. Look, A, bacon crispy. D, eggs fried. A, bacon crispy. D, eggs fried. A, bacon crispy. D, eggs fried. Onto this string pair, I just jumped over using my caged octaves. E-shaped octave into a D-shaped octave. Yeah? We go like this. Oh, one of the first things that I spotted out was, before I did this, it was this little hot spot. F, A, D. Okay? I did have a story about that, Dolce & Gabbana, which did actually use Dolce & Gabbana. Yeah, so there. A, B, C. Okay? D, E, F. Now, once we've got that, then we know that if we go up a whole step, yes, A, B, C, D, E, F, D, E, F, yeah, and then we know that G is going to be here, because we go D, E, F, we know that we've got the lonely G, that there's no note next to it, it's on its own, G, then we know that we're going to have A, B, C here. There's the G. Okay, so we have that way of putting all those patterns together there, guys. Now, what we want to do then is, once we get those down, then we need to understand that. Let's look at the G, the lonely G. Let's bridge something in here for the lonely G, right? Okay, so what we could do is, if you imagine lonely G, he's stood on a little. You imagine, like those. You know when you go to a country estate or something, and they've got a big pond, and there's a duck house in the middle, and there's ducks on it, and they do that because the fox can't get across there. So we could do that, right? And that's what we're going to use. So just imagine this is the G, right? He's stuck on the little island in the middle of the pond there. So there he is. We're going to build him a bridge to get across here now by filling in what's going on in the middle here. So we've got G here and we've got A here. So remember, this is going up, like I showed you in my Lady Dianagram here. Yeah, what we have is this is up. Yeah, when the note goes up, that's when it becomes sharp. Okay, when it goes down, it becomes flat. Okay, so that's what we're doing here. So we can fill those in, but we don't want to think of them as part of the same thing as this. Yeah, I see it all the time in Facebook groups where people say, "Oh yeah, you just learn one string, going E, F, F sharp, da da da, and everything else." And I see so many people get confused of this. Yes, so what we do is we build up this story and something, these three little chunks that we can grab onto, and then you say to yourself, "Okay, so that's a G. If I move this up, I'm going up in pitch. Therefore, I'm making the note sharp. So that's a G." This is a G sharp then. Oh, wonderful. Okay. Now, there is a problem. Because if I start on the A and I go down, then I'm making the note flat. So this is an A, and I move it down a half step, I get an A flat. So which one is it? Is it an A flat or is it a G sharp? Well, that is dependent on which key you are in, and that's the way we want to think about it. In fact, I have two ways of seeing the notes on here. I either think of them as in the key, or I think them as tonics for the key. Yeah, so and we do that on all of these strings as well. So that's the way I see the notes, as well as seeing them as intervals and as scale degrees and chords and other things. Right. So here's what we've got. So this is an F. So if we come up, remember, this is sharpened. So if we take that F and we move it up a half step, what do we get, guys? What do we get? Get it in the chat. Type in the chat what you think it is. If this is F and I'm making it 1 fret higher, I've raised the pitch. Yes, I've raised the pitch. What is the note? What happens to that F? It becomes something else. Put it in the chat. Let's see what you got. I'll wait for it to roll in. I'll have a little sup of me tea. Yeah, answers are coming in. Yeah, there we go. Answers are coming in. Right, wonderful. So right, now I've got answers coming in. What we can do is we can look at it the other way. So remember, this was the G here. Right, if we lower it as well, then that means it's becoming flat. So this is what's called, it's got a fancy name, it's called an enharmonic equivalent. Yes, the harmony means it sounds the same. It's got two different names, two different labels. So we can think of it as being G flat, or we can think of it as being F sharp. So they're one and the same. And this is where this is where a lot of the confusion comes from, guys, because people are like, hang on, is it an F sharp? Or sometimes people think it's a flat. Does that mean it's minor? Yes, this is such a common question, that people hear that it's flat because they've heard that the minor has a flat third, and then they start to associate it. Those things are not coupled in any way. Those are two different ideas completely. Yeah, we use alphabet letters with sharps and flats for naming the notes. That's what it is. That's what we're doing there, and we're using those to name the root notes for chords, for thirds, fifths, and all that sort of stuff. We tie those in parallel for tonics, for keys and stuff. But when we use a flat third, that's about a chord structure. That's what that is about. So do not get them mixed up. Maria says a funny thing here, and this is what I was going to mention as well earlier on, is if you look, and if I just come over here and just get rid of everything else here, right? What you are looking at here is essentially the notes from C major and A minor. Or if you want to think about it, this map is essentially the white keys on the piano. Yeah, let me just say that again. It's the white keys on the piano. When we just look at those natural notes, okay, just at the natural notes, that's the white keys on the piano. So if we put the sharps and the flats in, those are the black keys on the piano, okay? Right? A keyboard is easier. Yes, it is, Edward. But the thing about the keyboard is everything's on one layer. If you think about it, if we took each of these notes, yeah, we would have only one keyboard. The guitar is essentially 6 linear keyboards all in a row. You'd have to be Rick Wakeman to cope with that straight away. Yeah, so that's what we're looking at here. We're looking at this business. Okay, so what we do is we think, and this is what I say, I think of the fretboard as being in the key of C major. Once you understand the key of C major, you can understand all the other 11 keys, okay? Because the basic thing is everything transposes, guys. And what we're doing is when we transpose, then what happens is we start to bring in the sharps and the flats, and that changes things, you know. But we're always going to get these structures. That's what your capo does. That's what your bar chords do. This is why your shape stays the same when you take an E-shaped bar chord. Yeah, you're keeping the shape the same. Yeah, there's an F sharp chord. But if I move it up here, the shape hasn't changed. Yeah, I've just transposed the shape. And that's essentially what's going on here, guys. Because if you think about it, the bar is really just a movable head note. It's like a capo. Yeah. So it's the same principle. So we think of the guitar as being in C major. It's just the easiest way around it. And that's going to make sense when it comes to playing chords, scales, and arpeggios as well. So let's just have a little look at this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pause for a moment here, and I'm going to ask you, see if you have any questions. And let me just quickly go through the chat here and see what everybody thinks, how everybody is doing here. Right, I'll just scroll back a wee bit and just see if everybody is up to speed, or if you can. Have you seen the stick on dots? No confessions here, but maybe my friend's guitar has dots on every fret now. And I think, you know, Dem, I bought some of those years ago just to have a look and just see what was going on there. And again, basically, all you're doing, if you get them stick on dots, is you're putting those on. That's all you're doing. You're just transferring it off there. The confusion on a sheet of paper, you're just sticking it onto the guitar neck. Because when you start guitar, yeah, the keys that you probably played most are going to be the keys of C, key of G. Yeah, maybe a bit of E minor, maybe maybe a bit of A minor, which is just the relative minors of those keys. Maybe then you know some other bits and bobs. Yeah. So, but the main thing is because the chords. And here's the crazy thing. If you think about it, the easiest chords to put together to write a song are in the key of C major, on guitar and on piano. So you think about it, if you can write a song on piano just using the white keys, and you were playing the key of C major. So the thing is, this is where the similarities between guitar and piano come into play, and you need to kind of like, you can tally those across. They will work with each other then. You get that synergy. So any time you've had piano lessons or you know a bit about piano, then you can cross that information over. But you might not be sure how to do it. But essentially, like I say, the guitar is six piano keys, layers of piano keys. So it's like one of those big church organs, but there's like 6 of them all stacked on top of each other. That's what we're dealing with, okay? And that's how we get our chords, because we've got strings. Yeah, we can't just press down and the note comes out. Hopefully this makes sense, okay? So that's what we want to. That's what we need to understand. Now this comes in really handy, I think, from the perspective, of looking at chords. So let's just, like I say, let's just have a little chat, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to get into another section and I'm going to just show you some application of this information. And by the way, in my notes, I've got that this isn't the only way to do it. This is just one way that I found easy to come up with, because it just used the musical alphabet in a really logical manner. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And there you go. You split it into 3 chunks, and then you can manage it. Look, it's very easy for you to kind of plot and just see where it all exists. Can I zoom out a wee bit more and get all of that in there? Yeah, so you can see there. Look, you can see it's all there in front of you. The elegance, the organisation, and that's down to the tuning of the guitar being tuned in fourths, apart from between the G and B where it's tuned to a major third. Okay, so in a chord progression, let's say you play F, A, C, D, then you go to F sharp, G flat. What is it called? I'm not sure exactly. Play F, A, C, D. I don't know are those separate chords, or is it F with an A, a C, and a D there, Jeremiah? If you go to F, G sharp, I'm not sure what you mean there. So let's have a look. They have 3 sites that have guessed the note on the fretboard. They do, But the thing is there a method you recommend to practice chunking on the guitar? Great question, Al. Right? So if I wanted to do this, what I would do is I'd sit with my map, yeah, and that's what you do. Is you can't beat getting a blank fretboard, yeah, and writing this stuff out with a pencil. Once you're sure that your notes are correct, then what you do is you can put the highlighters in, coloured pens, whatever it takes, however it works best for you to separate these out, yeah. And then what you do is you say it as you play it, yeah. Now the thing is, if you write those notes out, yeah, because you do that in writing the notes out, what happens is, it's not me spoon feeding you the information and then you instantly forgetting it. Yeah. What happens is you go through a process of seeing the patterns and having a subconscious memory of that being logged. And then all that happens is every time you practice it, your conscious memory retrieves that from your subconscious, and it strengthens that bond, and you become really good at memorizing it. Yeah. And then once it's memorized and it's in there, it becomes a pattern, and it's just something that you know. But because you've written it down yourself, yeah, it feels like self-discovery. When you do that, then it becomes super, super intrinsic. Yeah, it belongs to you, okay? So what I would do is I would write it all out, and in writing it out, you understand what you've got to put on your fretboard then, okay? So you might say to yourself, right, okay, I'm only going to do the ABCs, and I'm going to do each string one at a time, yeah? And if you have to talk to yourself as you do this, you go like this, and say it as you play it. Now you might even, and I think this can be a good one as well, if you don't rush through it either, yeah, you might find it easier to repeat it and pluck the note repeatedly. So you might say to yourself, I'm going to play each note 4 times. So I'm going to go A, yeah, A. Did I do that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll do it 5 times then. B, 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 B. Yes. C, 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 C. Did I do that? C, 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 C. Yeah, 5 times. So do that. A, B, 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 C, 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 C. Now, what I like about this is there is a subtle little ear training thing that is going on here. Okay, watch this. So A, B, C. I can hear that. I've heard it and I've gone A, B, C. Right, okay. I've attached the label of the letter to the sound, okay? Now what I'm doing is I'm moving over to the A string. I'm going to play the same three notes, A, B, C. A, B, 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 C, 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 C. But that sounded different to that. That's a bit of a chunkier sound. Yeah, this is a bit more brittle. It was that open string. I could really hear that open string. Now, I didn't get the open string sound when I was on that B and C. So, B, 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 C, 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 C. So I can hear that those notes are being fretted. And then what happens is you're learning a song. And I remember this. I remember it very distinctly. Listening to a song, and all of a sudden, just like in my mind, I saw where the guitarist was putting his hands. I could picture it because I had associated the sound of the chord that he was playing. I knew exactly which strings he was using, and my hands were just guided to it. I saw the picture of the chord in my head. I heard the sound of the chord in my head, and my hand just magically went to it and matched it. Yeah, and this is the thing. If you've ever seen anybody work a song out, yeah, it's just like a dark art where they just go, yeah, chords are there. Yeah, and it's not because of perfect pitch or anything else like that. Maybe a bit of relative pitch, but it's about ear training. So if I go like that, I can hear the difference. Everybody, hopefully you can hear the difference between this. This. Those are the subtleties that you need to log, and you do that by listening, yeah? But the thing is, if you don't know what the label is for the notes and you think to yourself 5th fret, A, B, C, okay, well, let's look on the D string. I'm going to use I'm just going to jump over using the octave there to help me, or use the bead, B, E, A. So I've got one here. Well, let's listen to this one. I can hear it's the same notes, but it's an octave higher. But because it's higher, I know that it's going to be higher up the neck. So that's what I'm thinking. I think B, 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 C, 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 C. And I know from my string pairs, yeah, that D, E, and F is going to be next to it. Yeah, D, 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 E, 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 F, 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 F. Go backwards if you want to. G, F, E, D, C, B, A, F, 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 E, 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 D, 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 D. Yeah, so we can do all these different things, and we can hear the sound of the strings there. Now, the thing is, this wasn't the only place to play this. Now, so listen to this. Okay, if I drop it down to where it lives on the G string now. Now, here's the thing. Listen to the difference between that. Can you hear the difference in tone on this? because this is an unwound string, yeah, on an electric guitar here or an acoustic, you'll find that this is the case. This is an unwound string, so it's just a plain steel string. When we're on the E, A, and D strings, what we have is we've got the windings around those, and they tend to give you a darker sound. So listen. Okay. You can hear the difference in the tone. And this is where it's going to come in useful. You're going to go, and you're going to know where it's living on the neck. I can hear that that's still quite a thick sound. So to me, I know that's a G string. So, but I can hear that's a lot chunkier, is that sound. Okay, so we've got the A, B, C there. Now we've got this one up here. And we're into another octave, okay? This is the third octave that we're playing that in. And then let's put it onto the thin E string and listen to how thin the thin E string actually sounds. You can hear the difference in the thickness. Okay? And those are all the ABCs. So I could just practice my ABCs there. Or I could, you know, another thing that's really good for practicing is putting variations into things. So you could say, right, okay, I'll tell you what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the ABC, the D, E, and Fs. Yeah, that's all I'm playing. I'm just going to look, I'm going to say them as I play them. Yeah, so A, B, C, D, E, F. A, B, C, D, E, F. Hang on. Be aware as you're doing that, you think to yourself, okay, hang on, am I seeing that really clearly? I don't know. Let's look at it. Don't do this. It's like what people do is, and I've had students do this in lessons with me, where they go, right, all right, Ricky, I know what you're saying there. Right, we're going to do A, B, C, D, E, F, and they go like this. Get it right. And then they wonder why they've gone wrong. Yeah, it's because they weren't looking at what they were doing. It's like driving the car in the fog, like I said, yeah. You've still got to, even though you can't see far, you've still got to look out the window so you don't crash. Yes, you need to look. Yeah, and if you can't, if it takes you longer to play it, it's fine. It doesn't matter. It's not about speed of doing this. It's about doing it so that you retain the information where this is, okay? B, C, D, E, F. Where's Lonely G? He's here. Yeah? Get funky on the Lonely G. Now, what you could do is you could say to yourself, okay, look, here's a cool way of looking at it. What other ways can I see this? I can see how I can get double stops on those. So I've got that there. Hang on, let's not dodge the tricky areas as well. So we've got A, B, C, D, E, F. We've got a crossover here. Yeah, we've got to get that finger retracted into the new position. So we've got that position there. And notice what I'm doing as well is I'm using my fingers, one finger per fret, to cope with the whole step, and two fingers next to each other like that for the half step. So this finger is, you know, if I was playing chromatically, would be taking up all that there, but there's my whole step, there's my half step. Switch over onto the next one, D, E, F. Now, if you have trouble moving over to it, then what you do is you go B, C, D. Start here, and you go, just play the bit. Isolate the problem area. Yeah, don't just fudge over it and think, all right, I've practiced it. Yeah, but it's still not working. Yeah, you've got to isolate your problem areas, and you've got to take care. You've got to notice, and you've got to do it slowly, guys. You've got to go D, Okay, that's my D. What comes after D? If you have to do it this slow, D, A, B, C, D, E, A, B, C, D, E, F. Then if that's what you have to do, that's what you have to do. But once you do it a few times, you go D. Oh yeah, that one was E. Hang on, what was it? Oh, it's A, B, C, D, E, F. Oh, hang on, eggs fried, eggs fried, eggs fried, eggs fried. Just chunk that little bit. Chunks. The thing about chunking is it's the whole thing was, how do you eat an elephant? That's the whole deal with this, guys. How do you eat an elephant? Yeah, you can't eat a whole elephant. It's impossible. Yeah, you can't even eat an elephant's leg. Yeah, you have to chop it up and chop it up and chop it up and chop it up until it's bite size. And even, you know, what most students do is they think it's bite size, but it isn't. Yeah, it's indigestion size. Yeah, you know, when you've ever done that thing where you've eaten something, you've gone and you can and it's stuck and you feel the pain of it going down and you think, oh, I should have chewed that a bit longer, or I should have cut it off or whatever. You know, when you're being a bit greedy when it's, well, cake. Something like that, right? Okay, so that's what I'm saying. You feel it going down. That's indigestion. You don't want to do that. We want to be able to take this information, chop it down. Yeah, until it's, you know, it's like... I'm just thinking Maltesers. I'm just trying to think of a candy that might, like a Skittle. You know, the coloured candies, the Skittles. These are what we call them. That's what we call them here. Yeah, so it's just like, it's nothing. You consume it. It's like you go, oh yeah, that was easy. Because the thing is that's something to be said. If you can learn it, so it's easy, that you just like, well, that was nothing. If it was barely. You acknowledge it, but not as being something difficult, then it's like you've conquered it. You've already got it. You should be happy with yourself for that. That's the way, okay? So look. So we've got this. So we've got A, B, C, D, E, F. Oh, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to be brave, and I can see that I've got an A here as well. B, C. Oh, I've got a D, F here as well. Lonely G, A, B, C. Yeah? And there's loads of different ways, like I say, I've been able to practice this. So hopefully, does that give you some, you call them Skittles, brilliant. Yeah, does that give you a strategy to be able to implement this stuff, yeah? So this is how... How do you eat an elephant? Truncate. Yeah, I love that. So that's the thing. So, but listening to the timbre, yeah, or the timbre, as we say timbre, yeah, maybe in Yorkshire, but the timbre, yeah. What we can do is we can use that information then to say, all right, that's a C chord. Look, okay, look at this. And I because I know where my C is now, and I go A, B, C. Oh, that's my root note from a C chord. Now I know why it's called a C chord, because that's where it gets its name from. Okay, so we go like that. Oh, hang on. Oh, if I do that there, is that going to be the same spot for my scale? Yeah. Oh, and it lands on a C as well. Okay, so look. Can I play it in another pattern? Yeah, I can play it in that. And that's an A-shaped pattern. Or a 3-note per string pattern. Yeah, so we can play it in all this stuff. Yeah? And that's the beauty of it with the caged system. Look, there's the C, shaped C. Same note gives me the A-shaped C. So, right, and if I go up there, G-shaped C, which is an awful shape, but I still need to know where my root note is, even though I don't play it. I don't play that shape. Nobody really plays that shape. We play it. Everybody plays that, but we imagine where that root note is. But to imagine it, we have to know what it is first. And when I'm looking at it, I'm thinking that's a C note. I can see it's a C note, but I can also see that it's the root note of my chord. Yeah, could play it like that. So I can play it there. And I know that that's going to be the root note for my E shape, because the G and the E shape are 6-string chords. So that's going to be the G shape, This is going to be the E shape coming up, G shape going back. Yeah? And then the D shape. Then that's going to help me. And this is where the caged octaves really help, guys. You need to look at that lesson, like I say, with string pairs and caged octaves, bridging the string pairs with the caged octaves. And the first one that you really want to know is this E-shaped octave, which is nice and easy because it looks a bit like a power chord. Let me zoom in a little. Looks a bit like a power chord. But if we move that finger down one, then that's the octave, okay? So you can see it goes up 2 frets over 2 strings, yeah? So that's a C, that's a C. And that's going to apply to any of these notes that you put on here. So if you go to yourself and you think, hang on, Ricky, by your reckoning, that's an E, because I know it goes eggs fried, lonely G, A, B, C. Hang on, there's lonely G. So is that going to be a G as well? Yeah, you can hear it's the same note because you get somewhere over the rainbow. Yeah? Okay? So we get the octave there. Hang on, what if I do it here? Yeah, same thing happens. But that means because I know where that works. A, B, C. A, B, C. Go over using the D-shaped octave here. Okay. A, B, C. So my caged octaves are going to help me because what I'm doing is I'm landing on my string pairs using this E-shaped octave to D-shaped octave. Yeah, those are in the book as well. Yeah, so got that right. But the other cool thing is as well is that if I know where this is all, how this is all going to go, I can be pretty accurate and think to myself, well, that's a G, so I know it's going to be an A there. I might be playing in A minor, yeah, but I've just come in from a G chord. Okay, so I've got a G chord here that I'm playing, but I know that the next chord that my solo is going to start on is an A minor. So do I want to start on that? No. So I might go here. I might start on that note. You can hear that that's where that lives, and I need to know where the scale is because I'm saying to myself, I'm playing in A minor. I'm playing the A minor scale to go with the chords of this song. Yeah. Yeah. There's my C again. I'm just picturing that there. So that's helping me. So I go, all right, okay, C major. That was the pattern that we did last week. So then I can think to myself, all right, because I know that that's my C, or that's my A there, then my natural minor is going to live here. Yeah, look. There's my notes. Root, second, flat, third, fourth, fifth, flat, sixth, flat, seven, back to root. That's the natural minor, also modally known as the Aeolian mode. And because we've got major and minor, we've got duality in the key. There's the relative major, there's the relative minor. So this scale is also known as the relative minor. Okay, and then you can see that it tells me, oh, hang on. Oh, hang on, I've got the lonely G there. Borrow it from the octave. You want to just see it in a different way. And then I'm back into my A, B, C, D, E, F. And then that becomes a really cool way for me to think to myself, I'll organise a run. Say I want to make a run up the neck. I'll think to myself, I'll do my A, B, C, D, E, F. I'll play the lonely G and I'll slide on that to get to back to the A, B, C, D, E, A, B, C, D, E, F. A, B, C, D, E, F. I'm going to do that again here. There's the G again. Lonely G on its own. A, B, C, D, E, F. And then I'm going to go to the G. And I'm going to bend that G up to that note there on the A. Yeah, so... So you can see that takes me all the way up to that note there. Hopefully that makes sense with that, guys. Now, another cool thing is we can think to ourselves, let's utilize something like the L7 grid, which is another lesson in the book, which is why you should get the book. If we look at this, let's imagine we're in G major here. Okay, we're in G major. That's chord 1, it's chord 4, it's chord 5. Those are majors. This is chord 6, this is chord 3, and this is chord 2. Yeah, that's the L7 grid. Now what I can do is I can think to myself, okay, well if I play a minor on that, I can see where what note that is. I can say, oh, that's an E. Then I can change that shape, and I can change the timbre or timbre. Yeah, I can play this. Oh, where was it? I was playing it on an E, wasn't I? That's why. Yeah. So I can move it into different positions by knowing where those notes all reside and how you can see how those move. But the thing is, that's just one pattern. Let me scoot in on this one. So I've got root, flat third, fifth there, and I know that's going to be the root of it. That's an E, because look, I've got bead there, B E, yeah, or D E F, D E F. That's another way to get to it. It's got that there. So we've gone. Those are my minors. Now when I go, there's my majors. My major pattern goes root, major third, perfect fifth, root on chord 4, which is going to be F major, third, fifth. This is D major. So now I know where all my little string pair triads are. Yeah, that becomes valuable knowledge. It's good foundation stuff to know where those string pair triads are. So, how are we doing, guys? How are we doing for time? I think we're just about there. But like I say, there are other ways of looking at these. You can split them up however you see fit. The reason I do this on this version like this is we can divide it up. We could say to ourselves, right, let's not do A, B, C, D, E, F. Let's look at it from the perspective. Let's look at it from the perspective of the guitar itself, yeah, of the guitar itself, because there's little patterns. When we first learn guitar, if you've ever had the classical books, you'll notice that the first notes that they ever teach you are E, F, and G. You know, in the sight reading section. Yes, so how to play those single notes. So you could say to yourself, let's look at it, organize it a little bit different and say, right, I'm going to do it a little bit different to Ricky because it makes more sense to me. And I'm okay with that. Okay, E, F, gap, G. Okay, you could do that. E, F, gap, G. Then what we've got is, if you want, you can have the A. And instead of it being a lonely G, it's just alone. A for alone. And then what you could do is you could say to yourself, right, okay, B, C, and then we've got a similar structure going on, but we're still chunking this up, yeah? We're still chunking it up, and we still get the same things. Yeah? Carrot cake. So we can see in between the G to the A, we still get that step. We still get a step in between there. And then what we do is we think to ourselves, well, this mystery note here, because what we do is we know that that's a G. It could either be a G flat or it could be an F sharp. And that's how you work out those extra notes. We stay away from that. We do not need this. We don't want this. We don't want those dots on the fretboard that are in a mess like that, that's just got all the information all at once. It's a bit like, otherwise you'll end up like Lawnmower Man, you know, where they downloaded the internet into him, didn't it? You know, Is that what they did? I think. Do you remember that film? The graphics are absolutely horrendous. I think Lucy with she downloaded a load of information. Yeah, and it's just too much. It's just too much, guys. You know, you don't need to take it in that way. You do sometimes feel there is a pressure to kind of make advances and with, you know, each time you sit down at the guitar, but unless you do it in a kind of a calculated manner and do it slowly, where you're observing, so that you can feel at the end of it, have I learnt something at the end of your practice? Okay. Have you learned something at the end of your practice? Are you just, even if it's a tiny increment, you know? Because the thing is like that extra 1% of just how much better you get every day. Yeah, it doesn't happen overnight with like some stuff. I thought the lesson I taught last week was pretty epic, and I've had a lot of people say that moved mountains for them, which is what I want to do. But the thing is, certain things need to be, your ducks need to be in a row for those things to happen as well. But you need to know the names of your notes. You need to know your intervals. You need to know the names of your notes. You need to know the scale formulas. You need to know your chord formulas, and you need to know, and all that sort of stuff, and take your time with it so that you can get your hands used to performing the actions as well, instead of fluffing your way through stuff. Yes, the physical aspect might be the tricky part of it, and I will say that if it's going wrong, you're going too fast. Yes. If it's going wrong, you're going too fast. If you find yourself playing the same bit of a piece wrong all the time, you have to isolate it. You have to work on that. And you have to say it as you play it. Okay? This really works. Yeah, you think to yourself, okay, all right, this 8 bars here, I can't get this chord change, I can't get this lick, or I can't get this. Cut it down. If it has to go down to 2 notes, if it has to go down to 2 chords, so be it, because that's where the bottleneck is, and you address the bottleneck. Once you've cleared the bottleneck, everything frees up. Now that's the thing, but until you get rid of the bottleneck, it isn't going to happen. Yeah, and you're still going to struggle, and then you're going to feel bad about playing guitar, and then you're going to want to pick it up less, and then the less you pick it up, the more it gets ignored, and then next thing you know, you don't play guitar anymore, and that makes me so sad. Yeah, that makes me so sad, guys. Because that's the whole. I feel that's the reason I'm here on the planet. So yes, I'm here to show you. Hopefully this has worked for you. Okay, hopefully this will work for you today. Like I say, I will put this up in the PDF Club. I'll also put a blank one up in the PDF Club today. What's PDF Club? Well, if you want to know what PDF Club is, it's just there. That's PDF Club, guys. The PDF Club, all my past PDFs, all my future PDFs, and I've done some doozies lately, some 12 pages, some 7 pages, and everything else like that. All good. Was that a movie with Pierce Brosnan, Ricky? I don't know. It was Jeff somebody. Pierce Brosnan might have been the act. He might have been the scientist. So, okay. So that's what I'm saying here, guys. I think that's probably about everything that I want to get into with this one here. There are other things there, but hopefully you're taking away this idea that working stuff out on a piece of paper is really good for you, and a good way around it, doing it slowly. That's what we want. So that's where PDF Club will be there, guys. If you want to check that out, then then that's where that is. If you want to join the Fretboard Fraternity, we'd love to have you over there, and be nice to say hi and everything, and yeah, see you over there. That would be great. And if, like I said, this is a lesson in the book. Lucy the Actress was Scarlett Johansson. That was the one. I keep meaning to watch that film again, because it was a big film. So there you go. There is the page in the book. It's page 11, lesson 6 in the book. I think you really need to go over this lesson again, just so that you know what you're doing. Reinforce it, reinforce. That's what we're doing. And I will see you'll get somewhere with it. Okay, Gustavo Escova says, I've been watching your videos since last month. I must say I have learnt a lot by seeing your videos only. Gustavo, please apply it to the guitar as well. Hopefully. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Those lovely words. James says, always appreciate it and thank you so much for all of this. No worries. My pleasure. Jeff Fay, that's the one, Maria. Yeah, that's the one. He was the lawnmower man. He was like, he was the gardener, and they made him smart. So yeah, Mike, there's lots of ways to learn the notes, and like I say, the more ways I come at it with you, there'll be one that sticks, that becomes your favoured way of doing it, and then just purely by repetition, repeat it to defeat it. Purely by repetition in your practice, saying it as you play it, as you do it. Doesn't matter which method it is. There's others that are in the book. Yeah. Just by doing that, you'll click. One of them will click, and then that's it. And then you know your notes. That's what it's all. That's what it's all about. Dave says I'm too bullheaded to give up. Same, but I could never imagine myself giving up. It'd be like losing a leg or something like that. So yes, so that is that there, and I'll put a link up as well. If you haven't got the book, you're missing the point, because the thing is, this is Wednesday's guitar lessons from the book, although I have been doing some stuff from PDF Club and some more stuff that I haven't done before, which is more of that coming again in next week's lesson. We'll see what I come up with for cook up for next week's lesson. But guys, thank you very much for coming along today. I'm going to say thank you very much and love you and leave you. And remember, who you're playing guitar for. Yeah. Right. That's the thing. Say every week. Yeah. Remember who you're playing guitar for. You're not playing guitar for anybody else. This is the thing you are doing for yourself. You are doing this for yourself. Who gave me a thumbs down right at the end there? Check you didn't fat finger that. Daryl, thank you very much, mate. I wasn't expecting that. Thank you. I always feel a bit shy when that happens. Well, look, thank you very much, mate. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Keeps the lights on. Get some new strings on this. Cook up waffles for next week. I will do. Thank you. I very much appreciate that, Daryl. And keep up the good work in the Fretboard Fraternity and on YouTube as well. Post more videos. Okay then. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play some. I'm going to play the outro. I have an outro thing here, and I will see you all next week. Take care. Look after yourselves and look after each other. And I'll see you then. Okay. Bye.